Welcome back to another episode of my MGB GT electric Resto-mod. A lot's been happening the last couple months. All the paint work is done, and I've started some assembly of the suspension components. This is really the fun part of the build for me because my hands don't get dirty and everything's all clean, fresh paint. It's just a more fun part of the build. I'm kind of taking my time putting it together, but this video will show you what I've been up to the last month. The painting took a lot of work, a lot longer than what I thought it would. I did all the painting, everything right here at the house. I did do it out in the driveway in front of the garage. I made a temporary spray booth out of some clear plastic sheeting and a large canopy that I had, and I enclosed it in with some clear plastic and also on the ground. It seemed to work okay. The temperature at the time I painted was in the mid 70s, between 70 to 80 degrees, so it went on pretty good. I'm fairly happy with it. I'm not a professional painter. I'm sure a professional spray booth and painter or body shop could do a better job, but it worked for me, and it was a lot less expensive. Anyway, that's where we're at. It's kind of like I said, this is a fun part of the build. Anyway, this is what I've been up to. Thanks for watching. The last 2 days I was shooting the Raptor bed liner undercoating on the whole car, on the tub. I spent a whole day just doing the masking, taping. The idea was to keep any of this overspray off of the rest of the body that I haven't painted yet. It's just been primered and sanded. But anyway, I taped off everything that I didn't want the undercoating on. The product I was using was the Raptor. It comes in 4 bottles so that you can have mix up to a gallon of it. I actually just used 3, just a little less than 3. There was just a little tiny bit left in this one bottle, but it covered really nicely. Real happy with it. If you have a project of your own, don't be afraid to use this stuff. I've never used it before, but it went on pretty nice. No issues at all. There's some great YouTube videos on how to apply this and what others have used. The kit comes with the hardener, 4 bottles, measuring cup for the hardener. This is a tintable liner, so again, online they don't tell you this. These are the instructions right here, and they're okay, they're all basic instructions, but one thing I don't know why they didn't do this, but they don't tell you how much tint to put into each one of these. Online, another person said he used 3 ounces, so that's what I went on. So I used the base coat of the car, which is this gray color. This is kind of a little sample piece that I put on a piece of paper. I put 3 ounces of that in this cup, which was top of this line. One of the things I saw online that really helped was I emptied one of these bottles into a mixing cup, and then I added the tintable base to it, and then mixed it. It takes a while to mix it, but it's a lot easier than trying to shake this bottle. That way you get the color mixed really well. This is kind of like, it almost comes out like a pudding, it looks like a vanilla pudding or something. It's fairly thick. This thins it slightly, and then once I get it mixed, the color mixed thoroughly through it, then I would pour this back into the bottle that I was going to spray with. Then when I got ready to spray, then I would put the 8 ounces of the hardener into this and then shake it again. They tell you to shake for 2 minutes. I don't know, that stuff was kind of thick. I was shaking it for at least 4, I would say 5 minutes on each one of these. I was just shaking them like crazy, which seemed to work. It's probably overkill maybe, but it seemed to work. But yeah, it's a great product. If you know, don't be afraid to use it. It goes on fairly well. I'm not going to go through everything here. I didn't video any of what I did. I will say that when I was doing the underside, I had the I call them my outriggers were on there, these. So I had the car tilted up on its side, so it was just easier than trying to spray over my head. One thing I'd highly recommend, I put plastic down on the floor because there is a lot of, I mean, this stuff sprays everywhere. It flies out of that nozzle pretty well, it flies out there. This helped protect the floor, and so I don't have to clean the floor afterwards. But I highly recommend putting plastic down. And again, pretty much the whole car I had wrapped, because you know, I can feel some of it got up here. Well, it's all dry now, but I just taped everything off. So what I'm going to do now is strip all this back off and get ready to start shooting some color on the rest of the tub. Well, before I start masking off for shooting some color on the car, I need to mask off all of everything that I've undercoated or put the Raptor coating on. But I wanted to show you, I got all the paper and tape off. You can see a bunch of the studs that I put in for running the electrical lines and the coolant lines up to the front. These are welded in from the other side. I had them taped off to keep the threads cleaned. Yeah, it came out really nice. Real happy with how it looks. The bottom of the car looks so much better. Let me get around to the back here. The wheel wells came out really nice. Again, you can see some of the studs that were welded in from the other side. I got the tape. I missed that piece of tape there. But yeah, this came out really nice. Real happy with all this. Well, here's where I'm at with the car today. I've got the basic tub in base coat. I still have to pull this paper off. So the rear quarters, well, basically the tub is painted with the base coat. I still have to do the doors on the front fenders. The front fenders are going to be done or painted while on the car, mainly because the fender bead up here, these have to be sealed with seam sealer, and they're all bolted on. And before I did any painting, I just really wanted to get everything set to where I know I can adjust the doors. They aren't perfect right now, but they're close enough to where when they are painted, we'll be able to align them pretty good. The big issue was the hinges. The door hinges had to be on, and I wanted those on the car before I shot the clear coat on the rest of this. So I do have the 2 doors, the rear hatch, on the hood to paint. I also set the hood on there just to double check, make sure everything was good on the fit, and it's really pretty close. I just wanted to make sure the gaps were good on both sides before I seam sealed these fenders. Once they're on, they do unbolt, but once they're on, they should be kind of permanent because there'll be seam sealer in all these gaps here, so moisture doesn't get underneath here and rust any of the metal on the tub. The hinges, I already had a base coat on those. I'm going to leave them on there now so I can shoot the clear over those, and under the hood is ready to be clear coated. Okay, that's where we're at with the car today. I have some seam sealing I want to do, and then I want to get start painting base coat on the doors and the rear hatch. They will be painted off of the car. Anyway, this is it. I've spent a lot of time wet sanding and buffing. I still have to do a final buff, but I've got it pretty close right now. I'm kind of going to let it go and do the final buff after it's all together, mainly because I might get little scratches, or I'll be rubbing against the body, so I know it'll need another rub out. Anyway, what I'm doing now is I'm starting to put things back together. I did get the front crossmember suspension reinstalled. It went on fairly easy. I'll be working on that, getting things back together on that. What I want to start with is getting some of the coolant lines, the little radiator mounted up front here, the reservoir tank and the coolant lines run down inside before I start putting any batteries or anything in here. The hydraulic lines, the brake system, I'd like to get all those hydraulic lines done, installed. The interior I'll probably do last. I do have some hush mat material I'm going to be putting on the floors inside here. I have the rear cross member bolted in for the suspension arm supports. I also have the front motor mount bracket bolted in place. I've been working also on this is a water pump. I've been working on the water lines going from the front to the back. I wanted to kind of show you this underneath with the Raptor liner. It came out really nice. It looks great back here. I routed the water lines down the left side of the transmission tunnel. Yeah, I made these aluminum hose clamps. They're bolted onto the floor pan, so everything's up out of the way. This is the underside of the left wheel well. There is some seam sealer I put along up here so no water and debris will get up between the fender and the wheel well. Yeah, this looks really nice, the Raptor liner. The brake system has been upgraded to a dual line system, so there's the front and the back. Up through 67, the MGBs had a single line system, or just one line came down to a four-way down here to separate the front to the back. 68 through 74, I believe, used this master cylinder. There's a rear and the front, so it's a much safer system. It is not like the stock system though, because I did have to custom length all of these brake lines. This is a three-way for the front, so it goes to the left and to the right. This line here goes back underneath to the rear brakes. I installed the rear suspension arms because I wanted to get all of the brake assemblies done. The brake cables, emergency brake cables are in. I had to make a couple little braces here for the cable to support it. And everything on the back of this car and the suspension is BMW. So with that in mind, it's all metric. So on the brake lines, they're metric here, but they're standard here. So I had to put a metric fitting on this brake line here. I feel I'm going to have to put some type of a brace to support this, these two brake lines, because of the suspension, the travel, the movement on the suspension arms. The BMW has two cables that come forward, whereas the MG just had a single. So I made a new piece there where I could put the two cables in and adjust them there at this point at the bottom of the handbrake. I did have to make a a fitting up underneath in the back there to hold the end of the two cables to mount them solid. Anyway, that's the back rear suspension. I'll be pulling some of this off because next thing I want to do is get the CV joints back together and the axles, the new axle shafts in and installed. And then I can put these arms and everything back together. I have both the rear axle assemblies put back together. I pulled the CV joints all apart and rebuilt them, re-greased them. This is the Tesla end, the CV joints, and this is the BMW end. The axles I had made at Dutchman Axles, they did a really nice job. They came out really nice. What I did was when I had the motor sitting in the back of the car and the suspension arms installed, I cut the Tesla axle off and the BMW axle off, set them in the CV joints, and I was able to get the distance, and I had these clamped together and then welded them. So this is what the size of the axles actually are. I sent this to Dutchman Tool, and they duplicated the ends for me on these new heat-treated shafts. They really came out nice. A little spendy, but there's going to be a lot of torque going through these, 300 horsepower. So anyway, that's what that is. I'll be putting those in shortly back into the car. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching.